This is James Randi, and you're listening to The Skeptic Zone.
The Skeptic Zone, a miracle of technology. A universe of reason, the Skeptic Zone.
Hello and welcome to the Skeptic Zone, show number 90 for the 9th of July 2010. Richard Saunders here with you from beautiful downtown Las Vegas. Joining me for the intro at this very noisy Hawaiian restaurant is Dr. H.
Hi Richard, how are you?
Well, I'm tammed out. I must say we've had a huge tam and it was just finished today.
It is. Today was the end of TAM. It was 2.5 days, 3 days of non-stop. I don't know how many days
lost
anymore.
count.
I'm completely lost count, and I'm completely confused and dazed. But you know, it is called the Amazing Meeting, and this is my first TAM.
Yeah.
Was, and people asked me what it was like, and I said it's amazing, and then didn't realize I was saying that. But you know,
it's amazing.
It is an incredible meeting.
It's amazing.
And it's so much more than just the lineup. You know, you can look at the lineup of speakers and think, wow, it's going to be great to see Phil Plait and Richard Dawkins, but it's so much more than that. You know, it's really about a whole group of skeptical colleagues getting together, exchanging ideas, talking to each other, learning about what each other's up to, and it's just it's overwhelming, isn't it?
One might say amazing.
One might not say that because that would be a cliche. Yeah, but I thought I knew what to expect when I came here on Tuesday, but I had no idea.
As long as you didn't expect sleep.
I didn't get any sleep. You can tell by the fact that I can't speak anymore. I haven't had much sleep. In fact, most people didn't really have much sleep. You could tell that by today when everyone was walking around bleary-eyed and looking a little bit like they'd been whacked with a stick or something. But yeah, there was a record number of attendees this year. 30% increase on last year, so over 1,300. As you know, this year there's TAM London again, the second one. It's going to be TAM Australia, the first one, and there's one in Geneva or Zurich.
Next year, I think.
Next year, yeah. So they're just spreading all over the globe, and it was funny because you and I planned to get here 2 days early to try to recover to the time zone, and just as we said naively, chill out a little bit before TAM started. We didn't have any time to do that, did we? I mean, the conference properly started on Thursday. Tuesday afternoon, there were people here. Wednesday, half the delegates were here. So we hit the ground running as soon as we got into Vegas, and we haven't stopped until now. And I think I'm going to collapse.
While you collapse, Dr. H, we'll get on with the rest of the show. This show covers the first part of our trip here to the Amazing Meeting, leaving Sydney and bits and pieces along the way. And then we'll flash back to Sydney, where we recorded a think tank with our good friend Maynard before we left. And Kylie Sturgis joined us too, which was interesting. Yeah,
that was great. Kylie was in town for another conference, and we managed to rope her into doing a think tank from my front room.
That's coming up a bit later in the show, but let's start off this episode of the Skeptic Zone with a look at getting to TAM. And it's hello from Sydney Airport. It's the 6th of July. I'm here having a quick sandwich with Rachel Dunlop and Joe Benamu as we wait for our flight. And I must say, we should rename this place the Power Band Sydney Airport, Rachel.
I've just tweeted that. We've just seen, in the space of 2 hours, 3 people wearing power balance bracelets.
Including the lady who checked us into Delta.
Yes, which was really weird because she was very slow, wasn't she?
She was lovely, but a bit slow.
I mean, she was lovely, but she moved like she was in slow motion. So maybe it had adjusted her chakras so much that she was, I don't know, in another world or something.
Anyway, we're just having a quick bite and a cup of coffee, and then we'll head over to the departure gate, and we'll be off. Joe, you're looking forward to it?
I am very much so. I just have to say about those power bracelets, the thing that gets me every time I see them, is that they just look so incredibly cheap and tacky.
I'm sorry, I'm nomming, but...
They're not a good fashion statement, I'll say that.
No, but they do. They looked awful. And you got one, Richard, from when you did your Today Tonight story, which hasn't aired yet.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and it looks like cheap tat. It does.
Yeah, it is, because it only costs about 3 cents to make anyway.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't think I would consider that $65 well spent, to tell you the truth.
Absolutely
and
not.
Jo also made the observation just then that she was wondering what these people who we just saw at the coffee shop were at, what are they doing for them right now? Because they're not lifting things, they're not flexing things, they're not playing sport.
Like around an airport. What do they think that they're
what are they doing?
They're enhancing their well-being and zest and wellness.
Yeah, that means nothing, Richard. Gibberish.
If you are a visitor without a waiver who are nationals of countries participating in the visa waiver program, you'll need a green I-94 form. Once again, the U.S. form is one per household.
That's the one we get, the green.
Yeah.
Now we invite you to please sit back, relax, and enjoy Delta's hospitality.
We're on our way, Dr. H.
We are. I'm sitting here like a massive nerd watching the wing move around because
We got a great view of the wing, I must say.
we're right over the wing, and when we started off, the wing was kind of quite convex. And now that we've actually got up and the pressure under the wing is greater than the pressure on top of the wing, it's kind of sitting up now.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see curving up.
It's curving up, and before it was quite notably curving down.
Well,
I just think engineering is awesome.
it is.
Science, man, it
We've
works.
got another 13. We've got another 13 hours to admire it before we get to LA.
Yeah, in between that we've got knobs though, Richard, which they've just described to us.
They have.
Yeah, so I'm going to be watching the wing for 13 hours. Hee hee.
Welcome to wonderful Los Angeles, Dr. H.
Hi, Dr. Richard, how are you?
Well, what an interesting time we've had.
We're actually at the moment at LAX in transit to go to Vegas. And wasn't that a nightmare?
Hi.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Concussed, but otherwise fine.
I've never waited so long for my bags.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And the queue for the passport control was
Insane.
long and slow.
Yeah.
And we did have to actually explain what the convention was that we were going to.
That's right.
And
I said it was UFOs.
I said we don't believe in psychics.
You two are fools. I just said it's educational.
We're sleep deprived. You slept on the plane. More than we did anyway.
Oh, that's right. We hardly had any sleep. I got to say.
I'm delirious.
Yeah.
That's my excuse.
But now we're standing in a little terminal at Delta here in LAX waiting to fly to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, did we have 2 hours in between flights?
Yeah.
And we've arrived
just
here.
right with minutes to spare.
We thought that we'd have time for a coffee and a shower and,
Walk around, look at
In
shops.
fact, Jo's quite likely to become homicidal if she doesn't get a coffee soon.
We better let Jo go and get a coffee.
And given that she's now speaking of herself in third person, I'd be concerned.
As jet lag, folks, it's the wonderful thing of travel. Joe, quickly run and get a coffee, and we'll wait for you here. This is the first night at the... I can't remember the name of this bar. What's this bar called? The Del Mar Lounge. Del Mar Lounge. Dr. H.E. and Joe, we're still awake after 30 hours.
I know, isn't it mad? Actually, Richard, just on the quiet.
Yes.
Jo's gone a little bit mad.
Has she?
Yeah, because
Oh, look at you look at her eyes. Look at that. Yes.
we
Doing the Julie Bishop.
we still don't...
Joe, what's up?
Well, I've been wearing the same clothes for coming up to about 32 hours, and I've just had a glass of scotch, which was probably not a good idea. And Delta's left my baggage in LA, so I'm not happy. That's about all.
I see.
But she said that with such a nice tone,
She
didn't
did.
she?
Now we're amazed.
Exercising control.
Breathe, Jo.
Serene. We're amazed because, of course, it's only Tuesday here, and we're in the bar here, and it's full of skeptics, Dr. H.
It is. There must be 20
Yeah, at least.
plus skeptics already here.
Yeah.
Many of them locals, actually, although we've just met Neil from Perth,
Yeah.
who's come all the way from Perth for TAM 8, his very first TAM. And there's Sven here from the UK.
Yeah.
But most everybody else is US based.
But
And
they're here.
I know,
So early.
I'm really surprised.
We thought we'd come
Yeah.
here and we'd meet one or two people, maybe early birds.
We did. I mean, based
Yeah.
on our experiences last year at Dragon Con, where we turned up a couple of days early and there was nobody
That's right.
there.
That's right.
Nothing at all. So it's great that everyone's here already.
It's nice to see some old friends too, some from past TAMs and past meetings. They're sort of sitting all around the bar here. It's fantastic.
I've got to say though, Richard, I do have one observation about this casino.
Yeah.
Where are the fish tanks and the fountains?
That's right. That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
I haven't been to the Strip yet, but the thing that we are most synonymous about casinos in Australia is the big,
Garish fish tanks.
yeah, garish fish tanks and also garish waterfalls
Water
with laser
fountains,
lights and
yes.
changing colours, and there's none of that here. It's kind of weird.
It's a bit strange, but boy, there is a lot here. The cinema, the bowling alley, the equestrian arena, the swimming pool, the spa, and many, many, many nomming opportunities.
Many nomming opportunities, but you don't want to leave the premises because it is currently about 40 degrees Celsius outside.
Yeah, you don't want
at
to
the
know.
moment. Yeah. But fortunately, we have a pool,
We have a pool. We'll
so
have
we
to
will
try it out.
survive.
We'll have to
we
try
will
it out.
survive.
That delightful laugh you can hear, listeners, is none other than Dale Roy. Hi, Dale.
Hello.
And it's Travis. Hi, Travis.
Hey, how's it going, Richard?
Oh, it's really well.
Throw that in front of me.
We're here in the Great Hall outside the Grand Ballroom where our tables are set up. It's Thursday morning. Is it still morning? No, it's just gone afternoon. It's the first sort of really official day of the amazing meeting.
Yep.
And already it's busy and things are happening.
Yes, it's. I think it's much busier this Thursday than it was last year on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have our tables set up with many other tables here outside this year instead of inside where all the speakers are, but that's okay. I can deal with that. And our magazines from Australian Skeptics and T-shirts from TAM Australia are selling really well. People are having a great time picking those up. And I like your shirt, Travis, my boy. It's the new design Skeptic Zone shirt.
Yes, I did that for you. It's a spoof on what's it called? Hungry Jack's.
Hungry Jack's or Burger King, whatever.
Yeah. So I did that up for you. I gave each of you guys some shirts and some buttons. And I'll send you the graphic, and you can get them made up for yourself.
All the smart people all the cool kids are wearing them. That's what they say.
I even have one.
Oh.
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
I'm just not wearing it today.
Well, it's been a hectic couple of days for Dr. H.E., Joanne, and myself, and Iran Sergev here now. And we're being busy, and it's hardly even begun. So on we go.
So I just thought it was something to do. Uh-oh.
Well, it's Thursday. I see, that's how jet-lagged I am. Thursday is moving on. It's a bit quiet now in the great corridor outside the Grand Ballroom, and Kitty Mervyn has shown up. Hi, Kitty.
Well, hello, Richard. It's nice to see you again.
Now, you surprised me last night with a wonderful hat that you knitted for me.
Yes, I did. I enjoy knitting. It's a fun hobby, and I decided to knit a hat with flying pigs on it.
I love it.
To represent the JREF, of course.
Of course. I think it was very clever.
Now, Richard, you're wearing your Power Balance bracelet here, I see. Have you noticed any changes in how you feel?
Yeah, somehow I feel hungry when I'm wearing it. I can't understand it.
Can you consume more beer without getting drunk?
Oh, yeah. So I have to take it off, and then the alcohol hits me, you see.
Oh, okay, because I'm letting you test it for me before I spend my $65 and purchase my own. But,
Now, Kitty, you come to us from the near your area, isn't it?
New Hampshire, yeah.
New Hampshire. And how's the skepticism working up there?
It's really wonderful. Travis and I make a very good team. We did a wonderful haunted house investigation. Unfortunately, the only ghost we saw was Travis's niece, who decided to come and play a trick on us. But we caught her. And we've had a lot of fun and a lot of get-togethers. And I've gone to some wonderful alien UFO.
Oh, you gave me an alien shirt last year, I remember, too.
Yes. Yes, because New Hampshire is where Betty and Barney Hill were abducted by aliens. So they're one of the first people to be abducted. So it's something people are very interested in the state.
And we've met many times over the years. The first time I met you was on the amazing cruise to Alaska.
Yes.
Fond memories from that. And I've seen you, I think, at every TAM since. Or yeah.
I've actually attended every United States TAM.
Wow.
Including the first one.
Wow.
So very proud of that. And I would say that the Alaska cruise, I surprised you because you were doing origami and I did some origami for you.
You did. And that was a surprise. Great to see you, Kitty.
Oh, yes. Great to see you, too.
Now, I'm delighted that Dan Green... Hi, Dan.
Oh, hi.
Hi. I'm delighted Dan Green has come up to say hello to me, and he's given me a fantastic set of cards. They're like mystical spirit animal cards where you shuffle them up and you get someone to choose the card that's drawn to them, and they flip them over and they've got a choice of their spirit animal guide or something like that.
They don't get a choice. The animal chooses them.
The animal chooses them.
Once they got it, they're stuck with it.
And it could be the body louse, for example, or the tapeworm. I see the vampire bat, the naked mole rat, the jumping spider, the dung beetle.
These are all noble animals that guide and direct people through the spirit world.
The blobfish and all the photographs are disgusting of these animals. So, Dan Green, I sincerely thank you for coming up, saying hello, and giving me these wonderful cards.
It was a wonderful way to start my TAM.
If I can have your attention for the next few moments, I am very pleased to welcome you to the opening night reception of the Amazing Meeting 8. It was Friday, January 31st, 2003, when I took the stage in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and welcomed about 250 people, I think it was, to the opening night of the very first The Amazing Meeting. And as fabulous as that event was, few of us could have guessed that here at The Amazing Meeting 8, we would cross the threshold of more than 1,200 residents registered at The Amazing Meeting. Just say it. The world's largest conference of skeptics and critical thinkers, and it's going to get bigger still. This is just the start. So I am delighted that you're all here tonight. We put together a very special event for you, something that you really have to talk about and tell the rest of the folks about who are not coming in until tomorrow. Right now, I want to introduce someone to you who is obviously more than very special to us all. He is really the reason we are here. He doesn't need much of an introduction. I'm not going to take much time to give him much of an introduction, but let us all agree that the reason the Amazing Meeting 8 is over 1,000 strong for the second year in a row, the reason this is the most important, biggest, most successful, skeptical, rational, critical thinking conference in the world, the reason we are here is because of the world's #1 skeptic. And that is the amazing one himself, my friend, James Randi. Let's hear it.
Gentlemen, I cannot tell you just how awed I am by the number of people we have in this group, and more coming in the door as we speak. More on the registration desk. This is just incredible. We will break all records today, and I must say that this year we have not only this meeting, TAM here in Las Vegas, we're also going to London, and we're going to Australia as well. Next year will be even better, folks. Not only those three, but we're also going to be in Zurich, Switzerland. I could get into a long list here. I have a piece of paper going all the way around the ground to thank these individuals who have made this possible, starting today. It is such a large list of people. But I won't do that because that will come during the next few days. Our procedure will include thanks and awards to many of these people to whom we owe so very much. But I want to tell you this. Basically, It's you folks who are standing in front of me at this moment. You are the people that are responsible for the success of the amazing meeting. You, not the people behind the stage as much as you, because you all contribute in your own way to the success of the amazing meeting. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All of the staff does as well. And all I can say, folks, is thank you, and thank you. Thank you so much. And bring it back to you. Okay.
Yeah, right, guys. I was talking to Richard Saunders the other day.
All right.
He said if we record a trailer for our podcast, Skeptics with a K, he'd play it on their show.
Well, that's nice of him. That's very generous.
It's pretty good. I'm not sure what we could do though. I mean,
well, I suppose you tell people what the show's about.
But it's basically just this.
Yeah, but we talk about science and skepticism and things.
That's true. I suppose you mentioned the website address.
What, merseysideskeptics.org.uk?
Yeah, or just like search us on iTunes. Oh, and then we could end with like a big song like The Skeptics with a K podcast.
No. Don't do that.
Join us now for Drinking Skeptically in the Think Tank.
Videoing. Hello and welcome to the Think Tank back in Australia. I know it's a bit odd. I know we were just in Las Vegas, but before we went to Las Vegas, we're actually here in Rachel's front room doing a special Think Tank. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Richard. There's a special reason why we're doing this Think Tank tonight, isn't there?
There is indeed. A couple of special reasons.
That's true, yes.
We're very pleased to welcome back to the Think Tank our good friend Maynard. Hi, Maynard.
Hello, and I'd like to mention I have no scientific qualifications whatsoever. So let's get that up front here, that anything that come out of my mouth is to be taken with, in fact, a ton of salt.
And the other special reason is for the very rare occasion we actually have Kylie Sturgis in person in the Think Tank.
Yay! And I should add the proviso that I'm a religious education teacher, so you should take it with even larger block of salt. In fact, you could probably, what was it, the Sodom and Gomorrah? Which one? I think it was Lot's wife who was turned into a pillar of salt. Yeah, about an entire Lot's wife of salt, I would say.
That's a lot of salt.
That's a lot. Yes, thank you very much. This is why I came here, people, for this kind of joke.
Cheers, Kylie. Cheers.
And you're not hearing as much clicking as usual.
No, they're
because
plastic.
we have plastic glasses, because at Dr. Rachel's place there was a few glassing incidents, and police will not let her actually have real glass in the house.
It's all action around here.
So, yes, of course, while you're hearing this, Dr. H and I and the gang are enjoying a marvellous time in Las Vegas. Well, I certainly hope we are, Dr. H.
I'm sure we will be.
But at this stage, we're yet to fly out, and we're flying out in 2 days.
Yes, we are.
We are.
Which really doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
This is airing in a week.
It is.
And you should see it. Like Dr. Rach is packing here, and basically everyone from the Skeptic Zone is getting their clothing together. And they are so together with their packing that they've got their socks and underwear marked Monday, Tuesday. And so when they get to Las Vegas, they can just open the Ziploc bag, and there's the undies and socks ready to go.
Actually, Maynard, you shouldn't joke about that, because my mum bought me socks that were marked Monday to Friday.
Look, I got the same thing. I wear them on the wrong day to deliberately confuse the emergency room operations staff. In case, hey, this guy's got Friday socks on, but it's actually Wednesday. Oh, I don't know if we should treat him all right. See?
Then they check your underwear and it says Saturday. They don't know what to do at all. Now, apart from that, we are having the Skeptic Zone's favourite candy or lollies, depending on where you are. Yes. Mustics.
Now, a lot of things confuse Americans, like the Asian Pacific region, and another one of those things is mustics. Now, I've never tried this on, but Brian Dunham, the famous skeptic and spa owner, was he one of the people that spat these out?
I don't think Brian cares for them.
I don't think we found any American who cares, and they try to be very polite, but they sort of run
they
away
either spit them out or they try to be polite.
Now, but Americans are nuts about anything peanut, of course, all your peanut bars and stuff, and any of those peanut bars can be as strong as this mustic, but just the flavour.
It's strange to us because we love it. We're all here eating them at the moment.
But it does.
I was told by people that it tastes like perfume or cologne.
Cologne, yeah.
Or a deer's ass.
How would they know?
That was a question that was posed to them after they said that. But I think it was because they were talking about just the whole
Musk.
kind of musky flavour.
Well, because it's such a chemical, and you must find out the chemical number of that it's flavoured with too, because there could be some kiddies who are allergic to that.
Possibly.
Or will run around like crazy on the red cordial thing. Or is that a woo thing?
That's a woo thing.
That's a woo thing. Oh,
That's a
okay.
myth. Yes, Dr. Barbara Drescher has indeed
wait a
debunked
minute.
it. Yeah.
Please tell us more, Kylie. This is the myth that if kids drink red cordial, they go mad, yeah?
Yeah. When I was last at Dragon Con, Dr. Barbara Drescher, who is someone people can hear at TAM8 this year, she in fact debunked it as being a mythology. The idea of too much sugar is going to make children overly hyper.
I thought it was the colour.
No, apparently it's
Because you never hear it about green cordial.
That's a good point.
Because I tried this at a party. And we had a control group. We had like the people that we let in the car park, the people that had the red cordial, and the people that had the cocaine.
This is not going on the show, Richard.
And the people with the cocaine ended up in the car park with the people who hadn't any, and the people with the red cordial just watched a bit of, the ABC and went to sleep. So we completely disproved this, although the control group was polluted by about 10:30.
Well, I like red cordial, but it doesn't send me running around the block and doing all sorts of crazy things.
No, it is a myth. It is a myth that is the case.
I think my favourite reaction to the must sticks will remain the dinner at Dragon Con where we filmed poor old George Robb eating them, and he just went into complete shock and said, "Suddenly I'm in my grandfather's bathroom."
Well, he had an out-of-body experience.
He did. He said, "Suddenly I'm eating the shaving cream," because that's what it tastes like.
No, it's great fun, and any Australians going to the States for any reason at all, go to the supermarket before you go, grab a packet of mustics, and you'll have no end of fun saying to Americans, "Here, this is special candy from Australia, try it." And they say, "Oh yeah," and they go, and their face will go contorted, and they'll either spit it out or they'll look at you like you're poisoning them.
You know what I had to do? I did it when I was in Italy and also when I was in Florida, and I had to have backups of Tim Tams to compensate for the people that suffered so much. So they'd get really horrible, excruciated looks on their face, and then I'd have to make it all better with a Tim Tam.
I have sent some already, so this is a warning to people who are attending the Skeptically Speaking Beyond Belief party, which is held by Desiree Schell, Swoopy of Skepticality, Heidi Anderson and Barbara Drescher, and that's all of them. I have sent them some musk sticks already, so they are going to pass them out specially for the party that they're holding there. So I hope those wonderful women survived. I'm sorry. I hope you're okay, because I don't know what you're up for.
You can get musk lifesavers.
Oh yes,
yes,
that's a
good.
good one.
Good.
Yeah, I sent them. Let me see, furry friends. Little chocolates with all the little animals. So I hope you're enjoying the furry friends, and I hope that makes up for the musk sticks I sent you.
Now, let's talk about something slightly more serious and skeptical, I guess. Kylie, you recently went along, and you blogged it very well, I must say. People were commenting that your fingers must have been burning on the keys as you were doing it. You were at a talk about vaccination, which we promoted on the Skeptic Zone in Perth. Can you tell us a little bit about that and some of the goings-on?
Okay, this was held at the Telethon Institute for Child Health Research. It was not done in opposition to the AVN. It is a part of ongoing seminars. I'd like to make that perfectly clear, because I know that certain members of the AVN on their Facebook page and so forth have been saying, "Oh, this was attack against us." No, it's one of several. It's of interest to the community, so this is something that they do. Fiona Stanley and, Dr. Peter Richmond, Bruce Langeland and Deborah Lehman, who are respectively involved in investigation of meningitis, infectious diseases, and Bruce Langeland was just a parent who is doing awareness raising of meningitis, and his daughter Ashley was severely affected by it as a child. All of this was done to inform parents and have an opportunity to talk and get some information. What really struck me about this was during the Q&A at the end, Fiona Stanley, there's something coming over the building.
Is that Qantas?
It's a bus.
Think of it as a flying bus.
Wow. It's really true, people. They just come out of nowhere.
It's just like that movie Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Except it's a lot bigger than a king-size bed.
And you can see them so clearly out Rachel's window. They're just right there. It's amazing.
I'm going to have to try to get a photo of them or some video later because that was just astonishing.
You genuinely
yes, and here I am, seriously. It's like, oh my God, Meryl Dory's parachuting in through the window.
Honestly, they're so close that the pilot could actually wave to you, I think, Rachel.
I'm sorry about that, people. Honestly surprised me. But yes, it's a serious topic, yeah. What really struck me about this was at the end of the lecture, there was an opportunity for a Q&A. And as you might expect, there were members of the audience, parents, concerned community members, who wanted to put forward what their views were about vaccination. And there was one woman who read out a statement, essentially, about her child, her experiences. And
was this her own child?
Her own child. She said, this is my own child. Right. This went through these experiences.
So she
due
wasn't,
to that, I choose not to vaccinate my 2 other children. And I feel like I've been disenfranchised by paediatricians, by scientists. I don't trust you anymore, so forth. And as I was sitting there typing away, I thought, this is interesting. I want to know how do you respond to this? How do you do this sensitively, not alienate the audience, those who are on the sidelines, make them feel like, oh, nasty scientist, what she says is right, or even worse, oh, stupid parent, how dare you? It's not about that. And what Dr. Peter Richmond and Dr. Fiona Stanley did, they said, we do care deeply. What we do is show evidence of risks of the vaccination versus the risks of the disease. And we do this with huge amounts of compassion. And we're not trying to be on sides. We're trying to be on the side of the kids. That's who we care about. And in a way that really diffused the atmosphere, because when the woman finished reading out a statement, there were a few people trying to applaud her. Oh, yes.
Really?
Like, yeah, as you would. You expect that, the team would applaud.
And was the side effect of the vaccination her child experienced, how serious was it?
I have read and annotated, in fact, 2 books of Jenny McCarthy. I've gone through the entire book and written down every single claim of Jenny McCarthy, and they were very similar to the sort of things you get in Jenny McCarthy's books. The child's light died in his eyes, he had febrile convulsions, experiences similar to autism, and so forth.
But just to be clear, this was her personal account of what she
thought was due to the vaccination.
So there was no backup.
She
to suggest that it really was vaccine damage.
She had a very negative view of the paediatrician. She said that nobody was giving them answers. She didn't feel supported, and essentially it was not that dissimilar to many stories that you might get online.
Okay, so it's unknown what really happened.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. What did intrigue me was I think it was Dr. Peter Richmond said that there has been new evidence of certain genetic tendencies towards reactions to some vaccines. I'd have to suggest contacting him yourself to get the full picture. But he suggested that maybe getting the child to see whether or not there might be that sort of influence upon the child for him to have that reaction. But whether or not they were going to take anything on board, I don't know, because they seem very, very antagonistic.
Yeah.
But what impressed me was how Dr. Fiona Stanley said, we're not trying to make this into a pro or an anti or push ideas or so forth. We just want to make sure that you know what both sides are saying in terms of this is what the disease can do to you, evidence of what the disease has done to people. Bruce Langerland, for example, was really clear on the ongoing effects of a child who has been disabled or brain damaged from a disease in the long term. Meningitis, dreadful stuff, 21 years old, and she cannot talk, she cannot walk, and the effect upon the family, the community, carers, income. And it does certainly hurt families.
So, Kylie, can I ask you, because you went to the AVN seminar and the Telethon Institute, can you give us some feel for the difference in how the audience responded, or how, if, for example, there weren't any questions at the AVN seminar?
There were, but I ended up standing
But there weren't
outside
sort of sceptical questions, were there? What I'm trying to get at is, how did Meryl Dory respond to, say, someone saying, but my child died from a communicable disease? Or how do you think she would have responded compared to what you saw at the Telethon Institute?
I do know that apparently the AVN have recorded theirs. So whether or not they'd show that sort of thing,
but I can't bring myself to listen to it.
I would. I'm willing to read it, so I'll give it a go. But
it's up there. You can listen to it.
Well, this is the same woman who said that people didn't die from whooping cough back then, and they don't die from it now.
Yeah.
Quote.
Yeah. Judy Willerman was apparently in the audience for the Telethon Institute lecture. She was behind a gentleman called Grendels. Hi, Grendels. And she was muttering throughout the whole time. In my opinion, how might Mel Dorey speak to someone who's a skeptic? She probably
Would
bring
gish
up
gallop
more.
them. She would gish gallop them.
Well, no,
What's
she's
gish
got
gallop?
2 big security guards. She'd get them dragged out, I reckon.
You could do. There were quite a few burly guards at the AVN, and apparently they were there for me and Dan Buzzard to make sure we didn't cause any. Yeah, they were.
Well, I'm not surprised, Kylie. I mean, I wouldn't want
look
to.
at you.
Look at
Dan's a lovely
you.
guy. I spent the whole time with my head over my laptop going tappity 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 tap. And so.
And you know what Meryl said about that, right? That if
Well-
you guys had been bothered to listen instead of tweeting and blogging, you might have learnt something.
Well, that's funny because I ended up, as you know, transcribing 8 pages of Judy Williman's speech, pretty much verbatim. So, yeah.
And what did
honestly.
you learn, Kylie?
Yeah.
What did I learn? I learned after passing on to all of you that it's amazing how you can cherry pick data, isn't it? And it's amazing how you can post up links. Meryl, it's amazing how you can post up links on a PowerPoint that don't actually go to anything.
Really?
And look really impressive when you say, and here's the supporting data of such and such, and then post up a URL. And then I have the wonderful Jack Naotami Scanlon on Twitter clicking on those links for me and immediately tweeting me back going, it doesn't go anywhere. Can you check again? Okay, yep, it's the correct link. This is the link that she has up on the board.
Interesting.
It's a blank.
Wow.
So are they just expired, or they were never there in the first place?
Good
Is it a
question.
403 or a 404?
I suggest it's never was there in the first place, or this woman doesn't know how to type. I can give you lessons. I'm really good at it. Yeah.
But you could take that as a form of gish galloping. I think there's another term for it when you do that. You put up lots of links and references and say there's all this support, and you don't. That's all you do. I just can't.
Now,
think-
could we just, as the non-gish galloper
What is
term
gish
here?
gallop?
Yeah.
What is it?
Now, I'm assuming from the way you're using it that it means trying to flood someone with so much information that they can't disprove it. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
that's exactly what it
Yes.
is.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, if you went to one of the great websites, Prison Planet, where they have all the stuff that's going on that you don't know about, they will have a whole stack of lists. And then if you follow them through, a lot of them actually don't go to anywhere, probably because they've expired or something like that. But I still think if you want references that are really out there, you have to go to the No Agenda show. That's the place. I like it. I love that. I know you guys don't follow me on that one, but they have their show notes every week. Will have you going to what other people are thinking about non-scientific things, and I think it's a great list of links.
Maynard, you actually subscribed me to No Agenda, and I did listen to...
Okay, so what do you think of the work of Adam Curry and John
Adam
C.
Curry.
and John
I know of him. Yeah.
and John C. Dvorak in the morning? What do you think of their work?
Well, I tried to listen to one of them, and each of them go for about 2 hours. So I started off with one that you'd mentioned to me specifically, and that was about the vaccine reactions that happened in Australia a couple of months ago with young children getting sick. And as soon as they said they'd received a donation for $3,000 because the guy who donated said they revealed that a child died from the flu vaccine, I had to turn it off.
Because you thought, that's so incorrect, I'm not going to list any further.
Yes, because the coroner's inquest had shown that there was no link between the vaccine and the death. And, okay, there might be still some debate about what actually caused it, but I think it's really irresponsible to say we revealed that the vaccine caused the death.
But the guy who also gave that donation was an Australian.
He was from Queensland, yes,
I know.
that's right.
And
yeah.
the death happened in Queensland, didn't
Exactly, yeah.
He has a local paper.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's what I mean.
What are you getting at?
I'm getting at that even like Brian Dunning says, and I think like the No Agenda guys themselves would also say, they shouldn't be your primary source of information. That should be the start of where you start looking at something. So, for example, that's why I enjoy Skeptoid and No Agenda. Because I hear something on No Agenda and I go, hang on, that doesn't sound... And maybe sometimes I'll go, oh yeah, okay, there is some evidence to back that up. Or sometimes I go, no, Adam's a nut. And I think that's the way it should be. And with Brian, when Brian says something about, well, look, his latest Skeptoid was all about things he got wrong. And he even says, don't listen to any guy on a podcast. Now, yes, I agree that it's irresponsible of them to make a statement like that is incorrect and could make people not immunise their children. But I'm not quite sure that they're that powerful.
No, that's probably fair enough, but I think... I mean, that could have just been an offhanded statement because there were a lot of rumours going on around about that issue. But if they are putting themselves up as we look for the evidence and we seek the truth...
And they hit people in the mouth.
And they hit people in the mouth, as you say. if that's the first thing they're going to say, then it's very hard for me to try to engage with anything else, because I don't dismiss every conspiracy theory. I don't dismiss woo without looking into it first. So, you and I have discussions a lot about, you say to me, well, maybe I shouldn't talk about this with you because you might just go, oh, that's nonsense. But I don't, and we watched the West Hall documentary together, and I did have to stop it a few times and say, hang on, I don't think that's right.
I thought you were just going out for drinks.
More for you, Maynard.
But there is a couple of we're floating around here, but there is some testable points in the West Hall documentary that are yet to be made. You remember the girl that got taken away in the ambulance and was never seen before?
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, they have a name of that girl.
Yeah.
There might be some. I think there might be some future follow-up on the DVD to find out what happened to that girl. Now,
okay. Do you want to just put that in context for our listeners who may not know about that?
Okay.
Just quickly go over it again because we did talk about it once before.
Okay, Australia's latest. I think we did speak about it on a think tank.
We did about a month or two ago. We did.
Okay, look, I'm sorry to float around like this because we were talking about vaccination a second ago.
No,
we're
talking
about
claims. How do we back up? Should we listen to both sides and what do you do?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So
Now,
I agree with you. You should listen to both sides. What was this documentary?
Yeah, okay. Now West Hall 66 is Australia's, I think it's pretty much our largest documented UFO sighting ever. Basically, something flew over a school, appeared to land behind some trees.
Here it comes now.
No, here it comes now.
And
there it is.
It's preparing to land on a runway.
That's a 747.
That's beautiful.
And actually, that reminds me, in the whole documentary, I don't remember anyone mentioning what the object sounded like.
No.
That's a really good point.
Now, it could have been flying silently. There are methods of propulsion that I don't know about that could be silent. That's possible. But no one seemed to remember anything of an auditory nature. Everyone seemed to remember visual.
No, you're right.
And it wasn't mentioned once. And that's something I just thought then. But, okay, so all these kids saw this. Some teachers saw it. And there was a teacher that allegedly took a photo of what it was. That camera was then taken away from the teacher by
men dressed in uniforms.
There was one man dressed in uniform. The other one looked like it might have been a policeman or something like that. And they actually took the camera as well as the film. Now, all of these things seem unusual. There seem to be a lot of people. Look, and maybe it might have been mass hysteria, but also spoke to people that have experienced similar situations. I don't want to name the person at their school, seeing unusual things, and they're pretty damn convinced that they did see something unusual themselves that hovered near their school for about an hour, and they were able to visually confirm that to themselves. Now,
are you talking about yourself here?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about someone else I know well enough that has also seen something of that kind of thing.
And we know the most powerful experiences, the ones that you experience yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to doubt they had this experience, but, then again, there's only them that knows they had that experience. So, again, as you are always going on about this show and in the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe and in Skeptoid, you want stuff that can be tested, and that can't be tested.
Okay.
But can we just go back to what you said initially about this point, which was the girl who was apparently taken away in the ambulance? Now this was one thing that you and I discussed after the West Hall documentary, because that would be easy to test, wouldn't it?
It would.
There must be medical records. There must be ambulance records of them.
It must be the girl.
They didn't follow it up.
But that's right. And now,
where's the family?
Yeah, well, apparently that girl was taken away in an ambulance with
never seen again.
Never seen again. Never came back to that school.
Yeah.
Now, sure, she could have just moved to another school for another reason, but again, there could be some sort of paper trail there. And it's only 1966, which admittedly was a while ago, but maybe
her classmates would know. Oh, what happened to Mary?
No, well, her classmates said that. What happened to Mary, and couldn't find out what happened to Mary.
Well, they named her.
Yeah, they actually named her. They actually named, and they had a surname and everything. So this is why I'm very interested to find out. Look, here we have some testable information. Was she overcome just by some hysteria? Did she get close to the object and it had some effect on her?
Was she indeed taken away at all?
Or even that, exactly.
Or was the ambulance dressed to look like an ambulance, but was really an alien ship?
Or did the poor girl have a fit, die? It wasn't passed on to the kids because, kids,
Well, yes, there's many things that could have happened there, but that is the one thing at the end of the documentary. You go, gee, I'd like to know what happened to that girl. Yeah. And they say in the documentary they would love to have a piece of an alien spaceship they could test, but there's nothing here. It's just a lot of people talking about it. Now, I have heard that the problem with the documentary is there's massive confirmation bias in it, because an ad was put in the local paper about if you were at the West Hall school at this time and you saw something, come along to this meeting we're having. So if you were at that school and you saw nothing, maybe you wouldn't go to the meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't go to the meeting. There's a lot of layers to it that I thought were interesting. It was worth making a documentary about it. The actual documentary maker herself, she has come under a lot of fire for making a woo documentary and everything. And I don't know. I just think, look, with what she had, which wasn't a lot, it was filled in with some really good graphics that they did, and I'm glad it was made. And look, I'd like to see more of it, but I'd like to see more of it with information. And when you're dealing with something that a lot of people saw with no accompanying evidence that can't be tested, I think she did a pretty good job with the documentary as it was.
I wonder if that's going to make it to the network. That was on cable, wasn't it?
Yes, and it was funded by the Sci-Fi Channel and TV1, both put money into it.
TV1?
TV1.
Didn't Film Victoria put money into it as well?
Yes, look, but it was a project that's been going on for about 5 years, and I would say the filmmaker lost a lot of money on it because they would have just been filming bits and pieces of it and slowly assembling it. But there is one section in it that I think a lot of skeptics would definitely pick up their ears to, and that's when one of the girls who was regressing back to what she remembered at the time, they were doing that hypnotherapy. They were doing a bit of regressive hypnotherapy, and they filmed a bit of that, and that did make me wonder a little bit because the hypnotherapist seemed to be leading her a little bit.
Yeah,
Now,
and she started talking about small green alien type men, and
I don't think she went that far, but
she didn't say green men, but she was talking about I can see figures and I can see these kind of grey.
That's I don't think that I need to tell anybody how notoriously unreliable and it's just
read Dr. Chrissy Wilson's writing on that kind of thing about reliability of memory, and certainly Dr. Chris French, who
and this hypnosis can bring back old memories and you can see them with clarity. I mean, no, it doesn't work like that.
The thing that was good about the Westall documentary is they did have a uniform. Sorry to be bunging on about this so much, but they did have a uniform specialist of military uniforms there in the documentary, and they presented to him a description that seemed to be the many different sorts of uniforms that the children appeared to have seen over the couple of days in the area. And a lot of them didn't match Australian uniforms at the time. They appeared to match American uniforms at the time. But again,
what they saw on TV over the last 40 years.
Well, I don't know. I used to watch a lot of I Dream of Jeannie, and
it's still on, you know.
And the uniforms that Major Healy and Tony had on in that probably matched what the kids were seeing as well. But again, was that because that was on TV at the time, or was it because actually what they saw? It's just I know one person can be fooled, as you say, and 200 people can be equally fooled as well. And it just makes me wonder, which is why I get back to the fact that I love shows like No Agenda and Skeptoid equally, because they're coming from opposite directions. And you've got to do the work. I like the fact that Skeptic podcasts and podcasts in general make the person think about it. I mean, like most radio stations, they try and, John Laws, he was always doing the thinking for you on his show. And I like the way these podcasts, it's a starting place for you thinking.
Would No Agenda do something like Skeptoid? Would they devote an episode to their errors?
That's a very good point. They are constantly reading emails about people who think they're wrong. And basically, it's more of a format reviewing the news. So like they'll go through C-SPAN. They'll watch C-SPAN so you don't have to. They will go through these shows and look at them and give you their take on them. Now, a lot of it is American politics. It is a little bit confusing to us Australians here, and they drill down to a lot of things. But occasionally you get big things and you get crackpot stuff. And like Adam definitely thinks that there's an elite that wants to take over the planet, and that's
an Illuminati.
I don't think necessarily Illuminati. I think he believes there's an elite that want your stuff. And the way that they get your stuff is by reducing the population every once in a while and stuff like that. Now, that is really out there serious crackpot stuff.
But that's I think it fits into the same theory as the New World Order, the Illuminati, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Georgia Guidestone stuff, doesn't it? Doesn't it fit into that same?
Well, it certainly fits
conspiracy?
Into that. But to hose him down, there's John C. Dvorak, who buys into a little bit of this, but there's stuff he stops at. And the one thing that they've come up with recently is the chemtrails thing. Now that's been around for years, and Adam's on board with this, and even John C. Dvorak's on board with the earthquake machine a little bit, because like I say, the geopolitical ramifications of an earthquake machine would be pretty massive.
All right. We have the Italian seismologists who are currently being sued, I believe, isn't there as well? There's a case.
I must admit, that's a new one on me. Earthquake machine.
Because
I haven't heard of that one.
No, because if
I don't think the seismologists actually created the machine. They're just being sued for not being able to detect it early enough.
Well, if a government or a group of people had the ability to cause earthquakes, wouldn't that be a great weapon? And the problem is that earthquakes happen naturally all the time anyway, so how could you tell?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's something you could never test either.
I think we should investigate Jen McCrate and her boobquake claims
now-
and see whether or not she has been hiding evidence of her earthquake.
She might have an earthquake machine within her bosom, perhaps.
Well, the two of you can ask her at TAMate, since I know that she'll be doing a very short presentation on the Sunday about the. Is it too awful a pun to say the impact of boobquake? I'm not too sure. I think I'll leave that one.
Did anyone here celebrate boobquake? I mean, I was walking around the house topless all day. Didn't feel a thing.
I think, Maynard, I'll leave you to represent us in that kind of
No,
thing.
we celebrated. Richard and I celebrated boobquake.
Yeah, we were
Richard's always
pub,
rude.
weren't we?
No, we went for a walk.
And we were trying to.
We were bouncing
Richard's always
around.
dressing inappropriately.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing.
He is
That's
now.
why I'm on
He
the
is
other
now.
side of the country, people, so I don't have to see it.
And also, I wasn't able to get a visa to get into the US. That's why I'm not at TAM in Las Vegas too, by the way. I think it's because I'm listening to No Agenda.
You're kidding, right?
I want you to come to
You can't get a
DragonCon.
visa to America.
No, I can. I couldn't.
No, because I couldn't. I had to get a visa.
I wanted to
I
know
can't get
about
into
that.
the
but
States
I
either.
wanted to know about that, but I'm not sure if it's like a big thing that you're not going to do.
No, it's not.
No, it's
an-
really quite sad, actually.
So, listeners, Dr. H has a special visa to get into the States. Now, why is that, Dr.
Why
H?
is that? Because I've always been too shy to ask, thinking, oh, Rachel's... Because I know someone who's not allowed... who got in trouble for coming into Australia. He's tried to sneak a whole pile of Chinese fireworks in his luggage from Asia to get to Australia, and he got his hand smacked, and he's got a little stamp somewhere which says, watch this one, he's a cheeky fellow. But I couldn't really imagine you trying to sneak fireworks.
Dr. Raichi has a special visa. Is that like the Special Olympics?
Oh, thanks, Maynard.
Well, no, I mean, is it special as
You're
in
just
what?
jealous.
No,
You're just
well, I mean,
jealous
as in-
because she's
No, look,
more special.
I'll show it to you.
Is actually on watch list. Is in special. That's what I mean. Like, I mean, secret. It's watch list
she's
B.
bringing-
or something.
She's bringing her passport over.
Getting a
Very
photo
impressive.
Of it. Photo of it.
Very
Here we go.
impressive.
Here we go.
It's Rachel flipping through her well-used passport.
Hide the number so
There
when I
it is.
photograph it, I don't get in trouble with you.
Oh, you have
Okay.
to Photoshop it out.
Okay, here we go.
I'm just putting some light on it. It's a great likeness of Dr. Raichi. Now, why, Dr. Raichi, do you have this special visa?
Yeah, and the passport photo looks like you were in everything but the girl in the early 80s by the look of it.
That was like 2 years ago, thank you very much.
But it's in black and white.
May not hold it up. Here we go. Good, perfect. I'll put that onto the Flickr page so
Yeah,
people can see
please erase the details.
Maynard's resemblance to Dr. Raichi. Okay, now why? Where's this sticker that says "No fireworks for you, naughty girl"?
Well, no, it's really quite it's a ridiculous story, to tell you the truth. In 1997, I went to Niagara Falls.
Oh, how lovely!
And
a beautiful
the
day.
border between New York State and Canada is the Niagara River.
Mm-hmm.
So when you walk across the river, you actually go through immigration into Canada. When I got to immigration, they said, well, you're now in America. Would you like to pay $7 so that you can come and look at the falls from the other side, or would you like not to? And I said, nah, I don't want to. So they ticked a little box on my immigration form that said, refused entry to the United States of America.
Oh.
Ah. And in fact, it was you that was refusing to go.
Yeah. And then I could never ascertain whether that was on my permanent record. And after 2001, there was no way that I was going to risk turning up to LAX without a visa.
Yeah.
Because if it said on my record has been refused entry and didn't say
Why?
because didn't pay $7,
Oh.
it could mean Chinese fireworks, it could mean weapons, it could mean anything.
Oh, contraband copies of Jenny McCarthy's latest video. or
Well,
something.
yeah,
Ugh.
anything. So, and they said, we can't tell you if it's on your record. You need to apply for Freedom of Information Act to get that information.
Well, they were just like cheapskate, didn't pay to come
And that
out
will,
and get
that will
it.
cost you $120 and 3 months.
Revenge.
Now, you had to go to the States soon, didn't you, when you were...
No, well, I missed out on a trip to the States
Oh.
because I had to cancel. I got invited to go to a conference in California. I had to cancel that because I couldn't risk turning up to LAX
That
without getting kicked out.
Is the most expensive sightseeing tour ever. $7 ending up
Yeah.
costing you that much.
But
grief.
I had no idea that September 11 would happen and that it would potentially become an issue because at that time people were getting thrown out of America for having eyeliner in their carry-on luggage because it was potentially a weapon. So now I have a special visa for 5 years and then I have to keep applying. And every time I turn up at customs now they say, why do you have a visa? And I have to explain.
I
because
didn't want to
pay
see a
some-
Niagara Falls. And they said, what's wrong
And
with
they
you,
go,
woman?
oh,
how embarrassing for you.
You have to invoke the use of the word special. It's a special visa. And hopefully they'll understand that it's just different from the regular visa. That's all it
I have
means.
to travel with Richard Saunders. You have to give me
That's true. That's true. Every time I've gone to the States, I've gone in with you, so it's your fault.
Not every time.
Oh, yes, the Nexus conference.
No. Yeah, once.
Oh, no, hang on. No, that we left. And we left
when
you
I went
there.
to Miami.
Oh, we left you in the
to
bus.
buy drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, we left you in the bus.
Don't say that
When-
kind of
I've got a
thing.
special visa now.
I'd like to point out that any of my students are listening to the show. That was a joke. Dr. Rachel is one of the most responsible people I know, even though she's a cheapskate. And I sincerely hope that you pay to see Niagara Falls because you're good girls, aren't you? Yes, you are.
That's right. And she's a religious teacher, and they would never do anything inappropriate.
No, nobody ever suspects me
Did
of
you just
drawing
look to the
pentagrams
heavens, Maynard?
all over the place.
I looked at the plane. Hey, now, actually, because we're recording this in advance, what are you most looking forward to about being in the great city of Las Vegas?
Oh. Well, the convention. Really.
Are you going to visit Mrs. Sinatra, my old friend?
You got the wrong Sinatra. Yes.
Look, now she is getting on in years now, but Mrs. Frank Sinatra, that is her name. She is in the Las Vegas phone book. She's a lovely lady, and I hope she's still around. Her Frank himself. Fred Sinatra. His brother was Frank Sinatra, who hit his head on a tank during the Korean War. True story, and hasn't come out of his room a lot since. He hasn't been well. And Fred has sadly passed away. But Mrs. Fred Sinatra is a lovely lady, and if you give her a ring while you're there, just make a local call. She'll be in the book there, and tell her that you're a friend of Maynard's and just say hello to her. She'll like that.
Because you used to call her on the breakfast show.
I used to call her once a week, and she'd give advice about vegetarian food because she's a Seventh-day Adventist, and she'd also give me advice on what else? Oh, yeah, you got to be married. You got to be married. Apparently, my age not to be married. It's a really bad thing for a man or a woman. Yeah. Mm.
And that was all those years ago. She said that, Maynard.
All those years ago, I never took
So
that
I can
advice.
report into her now and say you're still not married.
He's still not married, yes. And her husband Fred passed away, and a few years later she took up for a while with a guy called Rocky.
Oh.
And Rocky used to be a limo driver for the mob. And an ex-boxer, and she has a very strong New Jersey accent, and she's fantastic. And I think Fred might have had a bit of dealings with the mob. I guess everyone has in New Jersey by the sound of it. In his day, and she's a colourful character now. She's getting on in years now, but when you're over there, give her a ring. And also when you're in Las Vegas, if you could bring back some of those really colourful cards that the rather flamboyant women tend to leave on the street.
I've seen
Flamboyant women?
Yeah. Because they're just so funny, and they have the same sort of thing in London telephone boxes as well.
Are these the strange women who were born with stars instead of nipples?
Apparently so, yeah, and they seem to make their living from dancing.
Dancing, yes, indeed.
And they just have such funny, colourful, flamboyant.
They are very flamboyant. I remember the first time I was in Vegas staying at the Flamingo for the amazing meeting. They were everywhere. On the streets you'd find these cards
The women
and phone
or the
books.
cards?
Both.
Richard was looking. It was for research purposes only.
Research purposes only. But I must say, staying at the South Point where we're going to be staying, which is away from the Strip, I didn't see any. But if we go to the Strip, which we will, to check out Caesar's Palace and all that stuff, oh yeah.
Now, I would expect that at every conference, and you'll be in the middle of it now because we're doing this in advance, there's always some sort of kerfuffle, confusion, or something going on, or there's an issue that comes up that wasn't previously considered. Is there something that's going to be...
Oh, undoubtedly, but we can't consider that now because we don't know what it is.
Oh, I know, but what happened last time? What was it the last one? Was there one that was an unexpected kerfuffle?
Yes, there was. There was a photograph, a controversial photograph, in fact, of Richard Saunders asleep under a table.
No.
When he was supposed to be interviewing somebody.
The best, I can find it, I'll make sure that it gets highlighted on Flickr for people to have a look at. It is a picture of the SGU team, and I believe they're interviewing Brian Dunning, and in the background of the picture is Richard Saunders snoring his
There it is! There
it is!
How did that A380. Wow. Beautiful.
Oh, that is gorgeous. Shall I say that again without the plane?
No.
We don't have bus announcements. The A380 is just flying over inner Sydney. Please don't be on it. or at least on the outside. It's aerodynamically unsafe.
Hang on tight.
In fact, I actually watched a documentary this afternoon about how they make the wing for the A380.
What? Just the wing?
Yeah, it was one of these how are things made, and they just showed them making the wing, and I was amazed that it was 24 hours just to make the aluminium outside body for the wing without putting anything in it. And then they had the guy whose job it was, and this is a true job, once the wing is completely assembled, he has to walk backwards for 2 miles with a remote control unit that controls the cart, the huge cart that carries the wing to where it's going to be taken. So his job is to walk backwards with a remote control. And look, if I was interviewing him, the first question would have been, okay, how many times have you fallen over? Because if you've got a couple of $1 million wing in front of you, you're not really going to look behind you just in case you drive your wing off the side into a tree or something. You're going to be very careful. So just think, both those wings, some guy had to walk backwards to get onto a truck.
That's incredible. See, the things you learn on the Skeptic Zone. Anyway, Kylie has to just finish her story and then
that was it. Richard was asleep and he embarrassed us all. There you go. Okay.
But my excuse, and as the traveller knows, my excuse is a valid one. I had jet lag.
Yeah.
But it was hungover.
It was so beautiful the way that it was a photo of SGU in full interview mode, and then in the background you just saw this dribbling head sort of falling over Richard Saunders.
Was that the one where Rebecca got married?
No, that was actually the year before where I fell asleep with jet lag.
Okay, but you fell asleep during her wedding as well, didn't you?
Oh, I fall asleep all the time over there.
Who should we worry about?
What is that guy from Australia on? They must be thinking he's so sleepy and he's
I have a photo of you asleep on Rachel's shoulder at the Dragon Con dinner. Yes, I have that as well.
Completely zonked out.
Zonked out. It's really cute.
With George Harab, that's right.
Yeah. He's rubbing his face in shame now, ladies and gentlemen. Poor fellow.
And look, we have a big announcement to make here because there's something been missing from my life for many years now that apparently you've found. I did an interview with someone who I think everybody listening would be interested in. I mean, look, it might not be a great interview, but they would certainly be interested in the person I was talking to.
I used to record bits of Maynard's show because Maynard's show was very important to me as a young teenager. It was pretty much the only decent introduction to music and different ideas across Australia that I used to get. You and Richard Kingsmill's show and a variety of other people. I was absolutely devastated when the airplane came past like a large juggernaut and swept away the DJs that I really enjoyed on Triple J.
No, that's just...
And just to give you a bit of background, she's describing the early Triple J network across Australia, which was it is very hard to compare to other networks internationally. It's not like Radio 1 in the BBC. No, it's not like a big college radio station. No. It's a bit better organised than that. It is probably one of the best radio stations in the universe. That's for sure, for introducing you to new stuff. Because at that time, and get this, listener, there was no playlist.
No.
I would turn up.
Really? Wasn't there?
It was great.
I didn't know that.
Towards the end I was there, they introduced a playlist where you had to play maybe 2 songs an hour. But for my 8-9 years I spent at Triple J, there was no playlist. So I would turn up and basically what I'd brought in my box or I could find in the wonderful Triple J library, I could play for 3 hours.
So you could play Herb Alpert if you wanted to.
And I did.
He did. It was amazing.
Look, the Whipped Cream album and Of the Lights came up many times. I mean, basically, that it was during a time when retro was in some way a little bit new, so we had a bit of a dag sound going. So, a couple of times in the morning I'd whack on a bit of KC and the Sunshine
Band. I was about to say that.
Or ABBA or something like that. And I think it was probably the only time I think in anywhere in the history of this planet that you probably would have heard the Smiths next to Kylie Minogue.
Absolutely.
I don't think you would have had, and I was proud of being able to play that kind of thing because, again, I think some radio stations that play music should be like podcasts. It's where you start thinking about your music and stuff. You don't just blindly accept what they're playing as being the best stuff. It just makes you think about what you like a bit more.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
But the interview that this person I had on this morning was very special.
And this reflected the kind of range that you had because you had all sorts of people coming in. And I used to love the comedians and the writers in particular. And you had Douglas Adams. And one of the things I used to do was record occasional shows of yours. I'd often like hit record just as I was running off to school, so I'd come home and listen to the second half of the interview or whatever, so I wouldn't miss the whole show. And I've got on a tape from 1990, I think it was in April, of Douglas Adams.
Have you got the whole interview?
I believe I do.
Wow.
I believe I do. I'm going to find out and see and have a look.
Look, and this interests me because I do have this on reel-to-reel tape broadcast quality somewhere, but it's in my old bedroom at my mum's place, where every other tape that I made, believe you me, I do not throw anything away. But the problem is it's not all organised, so I can find it. Yeah. But yes, Douglas Adams, he was making his Last Chance to See documentary here in Australia at the time, which I believe Stephen Fry has just retraced his steps.
We talked to him about this. Yeah.
And I could, of course, I'd read the book, I'd heard the radio show and everything, but it's a good example of doing an interview where you don't over-prepare for it. But the one thing I do remember very clearly was that at that time, or shortly before then, there had been a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game released on a CD-ROM. Now, of course, I didn't have a computer back then, but it was...
I got that.
But it was a line command game.
And I've got it.
There was no graphic user interface for it.
You can play it online. You can find it online.
It's online. And here's the one tip that Douglas Adams gave me if you are going to play that game, if you want to win it. Before your house gets demolished and you get taken away by the Vogon destructor fleet, before you leave the house, don't forget to take the junk mail with you. Now, it's a very small item, but if you don't take that junk mail with you, it is used later in the game to distract some poetry reading or some aliens. It's used to distract the Vogons later from reading their poetry to you.
That's it.
So, and if you don't do that, you can't get to the next step in the game.
And in fact, in the same show, I believe he said that he tried the trick with another game. He was the creator of the plot for the computer game Labyrinth, which, as all those Jim Henson and David Bowie fans out there know, is a fabulous film which starred Jennifer Connelly when she was a young lass. In that, he did exactly the same thing, where if you failed to take, I think it was the quarters or the coins, or no, it was a plank of wood. If you failed to take a plank of wood from the very beginning of the game, you messed up the rest of the game. So he was a very cheeky fellow in that regard, making sure you did.
And the only other game I know he was attached to, and I know this because every time you go to the Manning Bar in Sydney to see a band, you will see to the right side of the stage an enormous 12-foot poster of Starship Titanic.
Yes!
That he, in fact, was involved with some members of Monty Python as well, and it's got his huge signature across it, and it's bolted down, and it's under glass. They know what uni students are like. It's not going anywhere, but it's well worth. Go and have a look at his huge signature, and he's got the small. He actually signed a photo to me, said to Maynard, a very unusual way to wake up, and and any time I'm feeling down, I look at that, and to know that I made Douglas Adams feel unusual, even for a microsecond, means I've succeeded on this planet.
Oh. It was a great interview, and the people who phoned in had questions from all over the place.
And look, and if I ever find that, and if you can get that to me, that will be transcribed. No, I'll actually turn that into an audio podcast, and I'll sound incredibly young. Douglas will sound like he's just gotten up and doesn't know what the hell he's got himself into. And I do remember he actually did request Midnight Oil. That was his favourite Australian band at the time.
Yeah.
Wow. So there you go. So, yep. So that's my that's the closest I've ever got to anyone with a brain the size of a spaceship, I think. Apart from Carl Krasinski.
The size of a planet. Marvin, the paranoid android.
Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you for bringing. You get that tape. Well, I'll make sure I let everyone know. And that's maynard.com.au if you want to check out other stuff like that, or you just want to tell me to stop listening to stuff like No Agenda. But I won't, because I know the truth is there. I know that John and Adam are going to say something. I don't know.
Before we wrap it up, Kylie, I noticed that you have a URL you'd like to give out there.
Way back earlier in this, I mentioned the Telethon Institute for Child Health Research, and if you'd like to find out more information about the lecture that was given by Dr. Fiona Stanley and the other people involved, head to www.childhealthresearch.com.au, and they have information there. Pass it on to people who really need to know it, because I know that there's a lot of people on the edge, on the verge. They're questioning, they want to find out more information, and we can't just let the AVN run roughshod over everything.
Absolutely. And you can follow them on Twitter as well, Kylie.
Yes, they are.
Telethon Institute.
Yeah, they've been very kind, and they said we can use some of the audio from the lecture that we went to, so hopefully...
All right, well, Dr. Rach, I think it's time that you and I jump into our time machine and head back to the future where we're at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
The future minus 16 hours, by the way.
Yeah, no, let's not get into that.
You will have breakfast at the same time in two different places.
We get 2 Tuesdays next week, and No,
Wednesday
the
or
week after.
Thursday.
Something like that. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. So, but in the meantime, I'd certainly like to thank Maynard for coming along once again. Thank you, Maynard.
It's my pleasure to be here, and I think you are both going to come back changed people, particularly if you have to share a room with Brian Dunning again.
That was the best dream.
Oh, I can tell you stories.
Can I just say, he tweeted today, oh, maybe I should book my room for Tam Vegas.
I saw that.
You
Yes.
won.
I saw-
It starts on Thursday.
Just
it's
make him sleep under a table.
It's
I'm
the
happy
South
for
Point
you.
Casino. He won't have any trouble getting around.
Ah, okay.
And I'd like to
He's so
thank...
dissolved.
Is that the pizza?
Yeah.
Pizza?
Wow, that's good timing. And I'd like to thank Kylie...
A pizza announcement, and an underpaid minimum wage person is delivering some suspect equipment to
Why Rachel runs out the door to answer the pizza. Answer the pizza? What's the question? What's the question? We say thank you to Kylie Sturgis.
You're very welcome, Richard.
And Kylie, your podcast, just to wrap things up, is going very well.
It's going extremely well. I'm
The
very
Token
pleased with
Skeptic?
it. Token Skeptic at tokenskeptic.org.
And you're getting a lot of listeners, which is fabulous to find out about. So here are the pizzas. They've arrived on the table.
Wow.
So I say cheers, everybody, and see you soon.
Here's a clinking of the plastic glasses. Safety first. Remember, this podcast is where your thinking starts.
Well, thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone. We're still in this nice Hawaiian restaurant after Tam. And coming up in the next, over the next couple of months, Dr. H, lots of interviews.
I got some fantastic stuff. Can I give listeners a preview of what we've got coming up? Okay, so I've got Simon Singh. Got half an hour with Simon Singh telling us about the latest with the BCA chiropractic fallout. Got Phil Plate. We've got Ben Radford talking about chupacabras and other cryptozoology. I've got Bruce Hood talking about the dowsing divining rods in Afghanistan and in Iraq.
Banachek's coming up.
Banachek. We've got
Captain Disillusion.
Mr. Deity.
Mr. Deity. Look, listeners, it goes
there's
on
so much
and
stuff.
on.
So much stuff.
All right. Well, I think we'll let our listeners now relax and go to bed, and we'll catch up with you next week. So for now, this is Richard Saunders and Dr. Raichi signing off from Las Vegas, Nevada.
You've been listening to The Skeptic Zone. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for comments, contacts, and extra video reports.
Skeptic Zone.